All right, so we're just gonna jump right in here and take a look at the Firestone production suite. So when you first unzip the folder, this is what you're gonna see. You're gonna see your 5 main folders here. In the first one here, we have a little bit of an introduction. So basically what we have here is just a PDF that breaks down exactly what's in the kit, a couple tips and tricks on how to get the most out of what's in the kit, and kind of just a little introduction to what you're about to jump into. Next, you have your license here. And this is basically just your clearance for if you use one of our sounds in a track that gets placed or that gets used by a client. You don't have to reach out to us for any kind of clearance because everything you need is right here. All right, next we're going to jump into our first folder of sounds, and that's going to be our song starters. So basically what we're calling a song starter is a loop with a bunch of different layers and stems in it. So as you can see here, we have a decent amount to go through. And then we also have the stem folder down here that has them all broken out into the individual stems. You can jump in, pick the one that you like, and see all the individual wave stems. A couple of the sounds are going to have MIDIs, so the leads, the basses, sometimes the chords will have the MIDI track available for you to drop in. And that allows you to change the sound and come up with your own kind of ideas and sound design for the loop if you like it, but you have a vision of where you think it might go. So I'm just going to play through a couple of these right now. Let's see. So that's just an idea of what you're going to get. And like I said, once you find one that you like, jump into the stems folder, open up the individual tracks that you like, and you can just drag them, drop them right into your DAW. And then you got the tempo right here. So we're just going to set it to 90 and make sure everything's matched up. If we want to change it, we can do that. Each individual DAW is going to have its own way to change the tempo and the key. So obviously if you're working in a specific DAW, you'll know how to do that most likely. If not, you can find a video online, I'm sure. But yeah, change the tempo, change the key. With the MIDI files here, you can add your own sound design and see what you can come up with. Chop it up, do whatever you want. All right, so our next folder we have here is loop phrases. And the main difference between song starters and loop phrases is that song starters obviously have the stems and the layers, and the loop phrases do not. It's just going to be an individual file. So as you can see here, we have leads, plucks, pianos, chords, basses, and 808s, and then percussion tops. So each phrase folder is going to have all the waves that you can go through and kind of audition. Hear which one you like. And then once you pick one that you like, head up to the MIDI folder, find that same corresponding file, and then you can drop that in and mess around with the sound design once again and kind of make it your own. For the most part, the leads and the pluck phrases are going to be kind of single melody type phrases. A couple of them will have some chord elements in it. For the most part, it's just going to be single melody. The piano phrases, they're going to be kind of your standard chord melody mixes. A lot of velocity information are going to be in the MIDI stems as well. So if you drop them in, you kind of get that realistic piano feel as opposed to kind of just a straight synth chord program. So if you have a particular piano sound that you like, drop one of our MIDIs in there and you'll get that realistic piano sound. For our chord phrases, we did make individual WAV files for each one so that you could see what they sound like. But really our main goal with the chord phrases was to have the MIDI available so that you can build on top of those. Next is the basses and 808s. You're probably going to be noticing a pattern here. So we have all of our WAV files right here in the main folder. And then once you find one you like, jump into the MIDI folder here, grab that, drop it into your file here. And then last in our phrase folder, we have percussion tops. So there's over 100 different percussion tops in here, all with hi-hats, shakers, tambourines, all different kinds of stuff. Any kind of percussion element that you can think of, wood blocks, things like that, we added into our percussion top loops. Because there's so many different percussion elements in each loop, these are not broken down into MIDI because we thought that would just get too confusing. So these are just waves, but they're expertly mixed. So you can just go through, pick the one you like, and you should have no problem getting it to fit into your track. Next up, we have one-shots. Now, everybody knows how frustrating it could be trying to dive through a bunch of different one-shots, different kicks, snares, whatever it may be to find the perfect one. So each of our one-shot folder has 30 files in it. So obviously the two that everybody cares about, kick and snare. Let's jump into kicks real quick. We can jump through a couple of these. So like I said, there's only 30 in here, but each one of them is high quality and should be a good fit for a track. Snares, same thing. Then we have some bass drops, 808s. The best thing to do with these one-shot folders is just drop them into your DAW's sampler, and then you can kind of go through and audition sounds and see which one works the best for your track. Also, speaking of dropping things into a sampler, using our synth one-shots, you can kind of make your own synth. And then we have toms, cymbals and hi-hats, claps, all the standards. All right, so last but not least, we're going to jump into the Serum Presets folder. So obviously you are going to need to have Serum in order for these to work, but it's pretty much becoming an industry standard, and I know a lot of producers have it. So if you have it, or if you plan on getting it soon, these will work for you. If you never installed any third-party Serum presets before, it's pretty easy, so I can walk through that right now for you. So first thing you want to do is open up an instance of Serum. You're going to go over here to Menu. You're going to come down to Show Serum Presets folder. And then it'll pop up like this. So jump into your presets. And then all of these folders right here are going to be our selection options when we go in to select an instrument from Serum. All you have to do is go back to our Sandscape Firestone Serum Presets folder and just drag that into the Serum presets. I'm not going to do that now because, as you can see, I already have my version in here and installed and ready to go. So we can jump back into Serum and see how they sound. So as you can see here, we have them broken down into 3 separate sections. We have basses, we have leads, and we have synths. A lot of times you'll see companies break them up into a lot of different subsets like Plucks and pads and brass and things like that. We just have basses, leads, and synths because we kind of want you to decide what you're going to use it for. That allows you to kind of get creative and see what works best for what. So obviously they're going to be a little bit further labeled, so you have an idea before you select it what you're going into. So, plucks, bells, different types of saws, things like that. Obviously, if you're looking for a bass, if you want an 808, if you want a respace, whatever it may be, you are going to have a little bit of extra information to figure out exactly what the sound might be. But we encourage you to just start at the top and go through and pick whatever works best. So, for example, if you're looking for a lead, jump in there and just kind of tap around and see what sounds good for you. Also, on some of the presets over here with our macros, we added some macro wheels here so you can customize it a little bit easier. If you're not super familiar with all the parameters of Serum, it could get pretty intimidating trying to adjust some of these knobs here. So we created a couple macros for some of the sounds, and that allows you to get creative and kind of make the sound a little bit more unique without completely destroying it or accidentally changing a knob that you're not really sure what it does. So that's what these macros are good for over here. Also, we encourage you to maybe even try a bass as a lead. If you increase the octave, it could have a cool lead effect. So that's pretty much it. We wanted to make it as simple as possible to navigate, but also maximize the use that you get out of this. We know that there's a lot of different options for production suites and loop kits, but we feel like the way that we have this all put together makes it really simple for you to grab something, get creative, get inspired, and then make it completely your own. So we hope to see you in the Sandscape community. We hope you grab your license of the Firestone production suite. And if you have any questions at all, hit us up at support@sandscapeaudio.com, and we'll be sure to get back to you as soon as possible with any answers to any questions that you may have about this kit. Now get out there and start crushing some tracks, and thank you for your interest in Sandscape Audio and the Firestone production suite.